Welcome back, everybody, to another thrilling episode of Thrive Street Program with Coach 2J. This is your host, Jeremy Jones, and today we're going to talk about teaching people how to use their glutes on pistols and step-ups, as well as some more notes about lateral shuffles and the glute med in the side of the hip. So, one of the things that we want people to understand with step-ups and pistols is that that we don't want them coming up on their heels. So as they do the pistol, right? A lot of times people they lack the ankle range of motion, so then their heel comes up, so then they're pressing through the ball of their foot, so it ends up looking something like this, right? And then they really can't get that glute firing that they're supposed to do. And this is also true when people are doing box step ups. The way we do that is we want them to really think about pushing down through the heel. Now, if they don't have the ankle range of motion, you can stick a plate or have them wear Ole shoes or something. That'll help them get a little bit more glute activation when they do this, and help them get their torso a little bit more upright. And you want them to really push through the heel. What happens is if they don't push through their heel, they start using a lot more of their quadriceps to do this. Combined with having to hold the leg up, especially on the pistols, not so much on box step ups, but especially on pistols, when they're holding that leg up, combined with using the quad here, there's a lot of people who will get quad cramps, or it'll aggravate low back issues if they have tight hip flexors and they're very quad dominant. So pistols will aggravate that. So by having people really focus on that heel and firing their butt muscles, that's going to help them prevent some of those issues. So just make sure people understand that when it comes to pistols and on step ups. So when they're doing step ups on the box, we just want to make sure they put their whole foot on the box so they can push through their heel, as opposed to just putting the ball of their foot or half their foot on the box. All right, so we got our warm up here. We're going to do some hip activation, and then we're going to spend 8 minutes working on toes to bar and bar muscle up progressions, because we do have some of that stuff showing up. So again, a little bit of time to play around and practice. If you see someone get their first toes to bar, make a big deal about it on social media. Same thing with bar muscle ups, obviously. But don't forget to celebrate the small stuff like pull ups and toes to bar. We as coaches should be just as excited about someone getting their first toes to bar as someone getting their first bar muscle up. Right? It's a huge milestone, and it's a sign of progress, and it's a win for the gym. It's a win for you as a coach. It's a win for the person. Don't just be like, oh, good job, now you can do workouts with toes to bar. It's also something that we want to make sure people get recognized for. Then we're going to do our back or box squats at 9 of 12. So again, it's getting pretty heavy here. 4 sets of 6 at this sort of 80% median range. Just make sure you give people adequate rest. With sets of 6, we're going to need a little bit more rest. So you could have people rest 3 to 4 minutes from the start of each set. So that's going to be 2.5 to 3.5 minutes rest between sets, and that's going to be that should be enough for people to be able to get through this, and then they can take a little more time on their ring rows. And again, if you did if they did a warm up, let's say they warmed up for 4 minutes, and then they did 4 sets at 4 minutes, that would be 5, so it'd be 20 minutes total, right, from start to finish. So you can still get through this in about 20 minutes fairly easily. It shouldn't feel too rushed. And then again, if you finish up the toes to bar stuff at 20 minutes after, 20 minutes on or even 25 minutes on the lift, that's going to put you at 45 after. You'll have 15 minutes to get through the Metcon here at the end. So 8-minute AMRAP, we're going to do 6 pistols or box step ups. Both are considered at performance or RX. So some people might start with pistols and then later rounds go to step ups, or they may start with pistols each round and then go to step ups after a couple reps. If they're really struggling, it's totally fine. They can switch back and forth as desired. But we just want to make sure when they're doing their box step ups, in this case, you want to say, look, if you're trying to get the pistols, you need to make sure that when you're doing the box step up, that and what I like to have people do is stand on the side of the box, right? So they're going to be here, and then they're going to let their other leg hang down, right? We just want to make sure that they're not jumping with this leg. So this lower leg, as it comes down, they should just think about bringing that leg down, touching the ground, and standing back up again. So that's 1 rep. So they start on top of the box. That's really the best way to do the box step ups that are analogous to pistols. You can have people do the stepping forward onto the box, and usually they can kind of rock. But what happens is then they end up pushing off with the other leg, right? So that lower leg is going to help when the top leg is in the sort of weakest, most compressed flex position. And then it helps them stand up. That's why it's easy to take a step up on a big box or a big step than it is to do a pistol, because you're actually using both legs for the movement. And ultimately, we want to kind of avoid that. We want them to try to use only the one leg to come up when they're doing step ups. Then we're going to do six dumbbell push presses, so they'll have to clean them up and then push press them overhead. And this isn't a crazy heavy weight, so we do want people to kind of crank through this. And then we're going to do this lateral shuffle. Now, what's going to be interesting is for people are going to notice that the pistols, the push presses, which do use the hips, and then this lateral shuffle. Use a lot of the glutes, specifically the glute med, which is the glute muscle that's kind of on the side and controls a lot of lateral movement and controls the knee in squats and other hinging movements. And so this is going to compound, and they're going to really feel it in their hips. And this is a muscle that tends to be neglected a lot and can cause a lot of like low back issues and things like that, having weak glute meds or even tight glute meds. So people should be aware of that they should still push the intensity on this, but if where they should be feeling the burn is in the sides of their hips, kind of on their glutes, but even on the sides of them, and then maybe they could be sore from this. The next couple of days, their glutes will be sore, especially the glute med. Okay, so intermission is at one point during the 8 minutes, we're going to stop and do 2 Turkish get-ups, and this is a way just to break up the sort of monotony. They get to choose where they want to put this break in. Again, usually it's good to try to crank out, crank for 3 or 4 minutes and then stop and then do your 2 Turkish get-ups. And people should actually go slow on these. This isn't, again, it's not supposed to be like a super fast Turkish get-up. They should go hard enough to where they want to go slow in the Turkish get-up. It's going to let them bring their heart rates down a little bit, get a little bit more control over their breaths. They're going to have to they shouldn't be going super heavy. It should be the dumbbells that they're using for the push presses. So they're going to have to stop or they're going to have to slow down a little bit and do it with good form, but it should still be very doable. It shouldn't be super challenging. If people really struggle with this movement, they can obviously use a lighter load or even a kettlebell if it puts that center of mass in a better position. And then after they've recovered slightly, they can go back into it. So it's a way of kind of incorporating a little bit of active recovery within the work, or active rest within the workout. And then obviously people shouldn't wait till the last, somewhere in the middle, somewhere between minute 3 and minute 6, they should get these done. So you might want to remind people that intermission should take about 45 seconds to do. So again, about 10 seconds per Turkish get up, 2 per side, should be plenty of time to get through that. And because it isn't a lift and a short Metcon, we've got the cash out here, or hypertrophy for people who want to do that. And if people are asking, 2 lifting days back to back, it's also a good time to point out, hey, we're in week 5 of strength focus. We're doing a little bit more lifting. Don't worry, in a week or 2, we'll be doing longer Metcons and a little bit less lifting if that's something that they're concerned about. But that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot, and thrive on.